Hello everyone, Linda Israel here, and I am working on a junk journal. This is for a swap I am doing. It's a Secret Santa swap, and this is going to go to my partner. And I'm working on the cover at the moment. I've already sewn a calico collage image to it. I've added a few stickers, and I've added some tulip glitter paint, fabric paint, to the Santa and whatnot here. But I want to do a little bit more, and what I want to do is use the Best Glue Ever, a stamp, and foil on this cover. So let's get started and I'll show you how I'm going to do this. So I have a foam brush or sponge that's a little bit damp, not super wet, just damp. And I have a little scrap piece of cardboard here. And the last time I did this, you could tell how sticky the Best Glue Ever is because this piece of cardboard is sticking to my finger. So I'm just going to squirt just a little bit out onto my palette here. I'm going to use this brush and lightly dip it into the glue. I'm going to take my stamp and I'm going to tap all over the stamp image to cover it with this glue. So I've got a nice little coat all over the stamp. I'm not worried that this isn't absolutely perfect coverage because I want this vintage, not quite all there look. So I'm going to take this and stamp it over the corner of my journal here. And then I'm going to twist this around. I'm going to reapply some more of the glue and do this again. So again, I've just got a little bit on a palette here. And I'm just going to tap. And I'm going to stamp, trying to not get on top of the birdie image. So that's going to put a swirl up here and a swirl up there, and I think that's all I want to do. So I'm going to set this aside to dry, and while that's drying I need to clean my stamp. I just take the foam brush and put it into some water. I need more water, but I put it in some water and I can reuse it a couple of more times. For the stamp, I need to clean off this glue because it's going to be really sticky, so I'm going to use the Best Cleaner Ever. It is a earth-friendly solvent, non-toxic, non-hazardous, biodegradable, no harmful fumes. I'm just going to spray a little bit on here, and I'm going to use my finger to smear it around. I don't have to worry about it, chemical-wise hurting me. And I'm just mushing this around with my finger. And then I have a rag here, so I'm just going to wipe it off. And my stamp is no longer sticky. So this has been sitting for just a moment or two, and it's tacky. See, I can put my finger on it and it comes up. So I've got some ScraPerfect foil. It comes in 8 colors in this package, and then there's another package that comes with a patterns, if you will. This one is just solid foil, and I like the red. So all I'm going to do is lay that over where I stamped and rub it with my fingers. It doesn't take a whole lot of pressure. I'm just going to rub this so that it sticks to where the glue was on my cover. And I'm going to do the same up here as well. And what I like about foil is that you just keep moving it around and you can use up the whole piece. See how that looks? I just love that vintagey look to it. So that turned out pretty good up there. This one didn't get enough glue on it. I think I had my brush too wet. So I'm going to apply again and see if I can't fix this. I just went ahead and put it directly onto the foam, and then I'm going to pat it again. Again, I'll clean my stamp off while this is drying for a moment. Alright, so it's tacky to the touch, I'm just going to lay the foil on top of it again and rub. So there is my cover that I have made, adding the foil to it. I like the way it looks. I like the shimmer of it. So now that I've finished that portion, I'm not going to be stamping on the cover anymore. I'm going to go ahead and bind the journal. Now to bind a journal, this particular style I'm going to do is a pamphlet stitch, where I'm going to make 3 holes in the journal and attach the pages to the cover. So what I like to do is look at my cover and then get my pages in the center. So I'm just lining these up where I want them. After I've got all my pages together, I use these giant paper clips to hold them together while I'm doing the punching and the sewing portion. I have a little template here. I have videos that share how I measure and do a template, and sometimes I just reuse templates since a lot of times I make the same size journal. So I'm just lining this up, and I'm going to get the fun foam and do this at a V. I'm going to use the Tim Holtz Craft Pick by Tonic Studios and poke holes all the way through down the center. So there'll be 3 holes. 1, 2, and 3. I'll put the pick away. What I like about this, you can retract it, so you don't have to worry about stabbing yourself. I've stabbed myself a few times with an awl. I've got my wax linen thread here, and I will measure out 3 times the length or height of the journal and cut it free from the spool. I've got my bookbinder's needle. I have a video that talks about those types of needles and what are the best kind to use, as well as the wax linen thread. So I'm going to start in the center. Just going to poke out to the outside. I'll pull this thread, and I'll try to make sure that it doesn't pull all the way through. And then I'm going to find the hole at the top and poke through to the inside. I'm going to pull this thread up out of the way, go back down through the center. And then I'm going to go to the bottom hole, to the inside, slip under this top thread, and then pull down. I want to make sure that this is tight on the outside as well as on the inside. And then I like to tie a square knot. So I'll just do that 1 and then 2. And then I'll cut this off. Now I like to sometimes put little pieces of paper on the ends. I'll do that later. You don't have to watch me do that whole process. But I want to show you the journal that I just made. I may end up wrapping it with a tie. In fact, I'll just go ahead and make a tie. Sometimes what I like to do is slip the ribbon underneath the binding on the spine and then just pull it around and tie it in a bow. So there's the quick way to tie off a journal. Alright, so we're going to open this up, and I've used the ScraPerfect foil and glue to make this pretty image on there with the foil. I just love the way that looks. This is a calico collage image, and these were stickers that I picked up, I believe, at Hobby Lobby. On the inside, this is a watercolor piece of paper that was 9 by 12, and I trimmed it just a little bit because these pages were 8.5 by 11. So if I measure this out, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I guess I did leave it by 9 by 12. I didn't think I had left it that way. And let's look at the pages inside. There are 10 sheets of paper in here, which will make 40 pages. I also added some of the foiling on the inside in gold. It was a different brand of foil, but I used the same technique. And then this is a calico collage image, and I went over it just a little bit with some of the tulip fabric paint, glitter fabric paint. I also sprayed the inside with Tattered Angels Glimmer Mist. This was an old greeting card that I got in a box of greeting cards from one of my friends, and I thought it was really pretty, and I liked the color and the foiling on it. So I put it in the journal, and I just add a little bit of distressing and some Tattered Angels. Graph paper. Here's one of my pockets that I like to make out of an old letterhead. This is also from Calico Collage. Here's another greeting card. It says Christmas Blessings. I just like the cute little house it has. This was an envelope that a newsletter came in, and I chose to tape it to one side so it wasn't cut into the journal binding, because then they could put, whoever, my Secret Santa, an item inside there. This page was the newsletter that was in this, that is talking about the family, and I just used a junior legal pad piece of paper and glued it on top. Sprayed it with Tattered Angels, scraps of paper, more letterhead that's been sprayed with Tattered Angels. Here's another vintage greeting card that has some pretty gold foiling on it. Again, sprayed with Tattered Angels Glimmer Mist. And something I did different this time was I ended up sewing a piece of ribbon to the center of this journal. That way, if you wanted to mark your place, you just lay it down in there and you have a place to mark your journal. The other side of the card, I added another sheet of paper because it had the information of the card on the back side, and then that way it can be journaled upon. Added these little spiral paper clips. On this particular greeting card, it had a saying from the person or a signature from the person, so I just covered it up with an index card that I sewed around, and then I've added one of the Calico Collage images. I did the same on the back, just adding a little tuck spot using the Calico Collage image, as well as there. Here's a big postcard. And I made another one because it's the same thing. They had written a sentiment here, and I just covered it up. So it's a great way to use those old Christmas cards. Just add a little bit of embellishment to it, and there you go. All right, well, there is my whole journal that I made for my Secret Santa swap person. I hope that they enjoy that. If you like this video, learning a little bit about how to place foil using the ScraPerfect supplies, please definitely give me a thumbs up. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. If you are interested in questions about this, you can comment below. Check out the description box for the link to the ScraPerfect blog, as well as other information that I share. Thanks so much for watching today. Have a fabulous day. Bye.